Hi everybody, how you doing? I'm Paps, the Rice Team VTuber and an artist. Today we're going to be working a little bit more on the comic pages. Now, I've actually been pretty hard at work on these. So before the break I took a little while ago, I made the lines for about 4 pages, I think, starting from page. No, it would have. Yeah, no, it would have been the lines for 4 pages, starting from page 4 and ending on this one, page 7. And I'm almost caught up. I'm very much. We're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, as you can see, I've been hard at work doing a little bit of shading for this middle panel, trying to just do the colors for the other panels. It's been it's been good. It hasn't been because a lot of these pages have the same visual identity. It's just been easier to knock them out one by one rather than or rather knock them out en masse rather than doing them one by one. So that's been a nice change of pace at least. What is that line? What is going on? What are we doing here? Hang on. Sometimes whenever I get like these little I feel like they're truant students or something. I don't know. It's like I don't know when they appeared. I don't know why they're there. But they are, so they just need to kind of be handled. Hmm. Alright, I'm gonna need to do some trickery here to add the grill on the back of the jetpack. Probably gonna need to lower the line width of this one here. Make it very, very thin. Yeah, just a tiny little thing of yellow. Oh, bummer. It looks like it's not closing properly. Let me use the Milli pen then. Kind of narrow that down. Sometimes when I do this, I feel like a plumber just kind of running a snake through a clogged sink. You just have to have a very fine touch with it. This is going to need to be on a different layer. There we go. Easy peasy. I'm actually quite happy with like my workflow right now, right? I feel like it's fluid enough that I can go back and fix something, at least in terms of my comic workflow, right? I feel like I've become flexible enough that I can now just go back and correct little things pretty reliably. Oh, I forgot to paint in this part. Here we go. It also helps having a consistent color palette and everything across the different panels. It's definitely one of those things where it gets easier the more of a page you have done, because the more of a page you have done, the fewer things you need to figure out. I feel like I bring that point up a lot, but it really is just a lot of figuring it out first and then being able to do it very quickly. Like a lot of different things, right? Like a lot of different things are like that, but I feel like nowhere else in my creative process have I felt that as hard as when I've been making these comic pages. Like it genuinely is just a matter of momentum. Hey buddy, how you doing? Welcome to stream. Wait, hang on. Wait, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I was gonna say I think I missed a little bit of fabric somewhere here, but I think I'm fine. I'll go stream. Very good. We're off to a running start as usual. Just filling out the coloring work on these line pages. After that, I'll be going back to line work, the next part of the next page. I mean. But I reckon I'll be able to finish this one this week and maybe get started on the line work for the next one. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish 2 pages a week. Let's see. Wait, is this the same color? I accidentally made it the same color. That's fine. I can just grab the ones here. Wait, what's this part here? Oh, that's the pin on the grenade. All right, good. All right, now I know what that is. I need to be careful whenever hang on. I go a little bit over the border here because whenever I do that, if I for example tap the fill tool out here, it just paints the entire page. And while that's fine, it doesn't show up. It does. Pretend you didn't see that. It does have the issue of. Well, no, actually, what does it actually do? Well, I'm sure if I don't remember what it does, I'm sure it's fine. It can't harm me. I think we're good for hard colors on this one. I think we just need to port over the skybox from the other pages. That's easy enough. I just kind of gotta reach over here somewhere. Here it is. Okay, we'll tuck this down here. Move it up here. Wait, no, the sky's upside down at that point. Hang on. Okay, I'd say this is like the best vantage point. Okay, then moving on to the next panel. Yeah, thankfully for this one, I didn't have much of a background in mind. I kind of wanted to have it be more effect heavy, kind of similar to the other ones up here. I don't know if it'll get to be too much though. I'm realizing as well that I forgot to paint in the grips on the grenade there. That's fine, I just gotta hustle a little bit here. I think it was... Oh no, okay, so it's all wood. Huh, okay. Okay, well we can just do that then. Grab this. Yeah, I think that should do. Okay, then next, after that, we can go back to that next panel. I'm gonna sound very strange right now, but I do think that blue is just quite the banger of a color. I don't know if it's my favorite color. I haven't thought about like what my favorite color is. I can't ever decide on what my favorite color is. I like a lot of colors, but I don't think I have like a favorite one. I have ones that I use a lot, but that's more just because I think they look good. I don't have like a personal attachment to them. I think the closest that I have to that would be like the color yellow. But I'm a big fan of blue. Blue is indeed a banger. I'm glad you agree. Yeah. I remember once upon a time, I don't remember the name of the movie. I watched this one of those like cringe comedy movies with my parents because they like watching those to pass the time. Where apparently like the color you choose can have certain indications of your personality, but I don't think that's accurate. I don't know. I feel like somebody can enjoy gaudy colors and all that, and it's not. I guess it's more like a shorthand, right? Like you can't always say that everybody will be exactly the same based on a single thing, but it helps to have like a rule of thumb to kind of base your predictions off of it, right? Like if you see somebody who has like a surfboard mount on their car, you can more or less reliably assume that they surf, right? They would not install that on their car unless they surfed or did something related to water, I suppose. I remember once upon a time I did remember going kayaking like once in high school, and it was very interesting because it was like one of I don't think anybody was prepared for how body intensive it was. Like it wasn't like an impossible thing, right? But everybody, literally nobody was like they told us this is going to be one of the hardest things we do on this trip, by the way, and we were like, yeah, okay, sure, it's a boat. And then we got there, and it's like, oh my god, my arms are killing me. I don't know. There's something about doing stuff, aquatic stuff, that just works up a really good appetite. Like if you go swimming and then you eat something, I don't know why, but that meal is like super super filling to me. I think it's like one of the highlights of a swimming trip. If you go swimming and then you eat something and it's like it fills you up extra good, I feel like that's like one of the highlights of it. I feel I forgot the color in this dude's neck meat too. Currently, he is living on tragically as a Simpsons character. Yeah, that's Homer there underneath that metal mask. Okay, I see. I forgot a line there. Okay, we grab this color, apply it here, here, all over the face. Really, it's the color of the helmet. Hmm. Okay, this one, this one, this one here. These guys too. Okay, and do we have anything else? I think we need the color on Hawk's undershirt and the red of the goggles too. But the red is probably somewhere in. No, it's completely from the side, huh? Alright, we can work with that. Oh, I forgot to do the strap on the head too. Okay. Then red from the goggles. Okay. Can add a couple of details here for the eye, just to make sure it's differentiated. Alright, then next up, the belt on this guy. Thankfully I only have one of the greens to draw here. Okay, take the wooden handle. Okay, then after that, what are we doing next? The other one. I wonder if the resolution will be posting it, or rather the ref will be posting it at. You'll be able to actually read this side toward enemy on one of these. Also, I can't put my finger on why, but I feel like this is the exact same font as like the Toontown UI. I remember playing Toontown a lot. I've actually been doing a recent kind of binge I've been on has been watching these videos from this guy called Josh Strive Hayes, who does a series called Worst MMOs Ever. And so far, I have only played one of the MMOs that he's visited. It was this one called Trove that a friend of mine got me to play with him. I never really got into it, but apparently it has really gone downhill. Not too much though, which is a relief. You know, I no longer have ties to it, but it's always a shame when like somebody's favorite game ends up being awful. You know, it's in some cases I understand why you'd be like serves them right, but in some cases I'm also like, oh man, dude, nobody should have to go through that. All right, over here. I remember wasting a lot of my time as a kid on MMOs. Whenever I had like, I remember trying out a bunch of different, not small necessarily, but kind of obscure ones. Whenever I've had free time as a kid, because you know you're a kid, you're on the internet for the first time, you're like, oh wow, free game, and you download it, and hopefully you don't get a virus. I don't think I've ever downloaded like a virus game. I don't think that's ever been like a thing that I've had to worry about. What's photosphere? Oh, that's what it does. It's kind of like a. I don't even describe that. It's like a. Oh, actually, that looks pretty tight. Hang on. Wait, this might work. All right, let's see. Tonal correction, brightness, contrast. Let's boost the contrast a little bit. Or maybe decrease it? No, contrast is good as it is. Maybe lower the brightness. It's happy. It's good as it is. That being said, I do need to paint this part in. But that should be the only thing left outstanding. Let's give the entire area outside the panel a little bit of a once over too, just in case. Okay, then after that. Huh, that's odd. Why isn't the sky showing up in this other panel? Oh no, did I accidentally control Z it back out of existence? Damn. Oh, well, that's fine. This one might be a little bit more problematic though. See, the problem is that I set this little confrontation. It was very strange how it developed. Like originally, I just thought that they would be like on the side of a hill or something, and that would have been fine. But then the problem is that I realized the perspective wouldn't work for what I wanted up here. So now it's just like one of those Dragon Ball Z style like plateaus that's in the middle of nowhere. Like we're gonna you you tilt the camera to the right a little bit and you can see fucking Yamcha getting killed by the Cybermen. So now I've kind of had to like retroactively cope with all that, but I think it was a good choice in the end because since it's on this kind of strange cliff, all I've had to do is like add the sky background in a lot of the cases and maybe a tree line here and there, and everything was fine. Now it's coming back to bite me though. Maybe I should use a thinner brush too. Let me hit this guy with a line width adjustment. Wait, shit, is this on a... Ah, man, this is on a non-vector layer. Alright. Call that a do-over. It's a good time to adjust the line width too. I almost adjusted the opacity there, which is like one of my biggest fears. I don't know why, but like messing around with the opacity and having to deal with like low opacity lines feels like it would really, really make me upset. Not without good reason, right? Because you know, I don't know. Can you adjust opacity in the object menu? I don't think. Hang on, can you? Oh yeah, you totally can. All right, so good news. I would have been able to adjust the opacity anyway. Bad news, that wouldn't have worked if this was a raster layer. Although I guess I could have tried to just copy and paste it over and over until like it was basically opaque, but I don't know that I don't recall the mechanics of that. Is there like a no, there has to be, right, like a certain point past which you've copied and pasted the same low opacity layer so many times that it's essentially opaque. It is like if not like data wise, visually indistinct from an opaque surface. But that sounds like a pain, so I'm just gonna keep drawing as usual. Okay, then grab this. Huh. I wonder if I can just kind of copy and paste this part here and just keep slightly rotating it to make the flooring. Is that gonna work? Like, can we make that work? I think we can. Hang on. Oh, this is gonna be so funny. Alright. Flip this around. Oh, the plan comes together. I'll have to add in a couple of bits and bobs here and there just to make sure that it's not completely uniform, but this works really, really well. Working smarter, not harder. You love to see it. It's true. Let's see. As long as the work is getting done, there's really nothing to complain about, right? I sound. I feel like right now I just sounded like a very shady, I don't know, pipe installer or something. Yeah. Recently, I read a story. The name of the manga is called "The Disappearance Diaries" by I wrote down the name of the guy here. Hang on. By Hideo Azuma. And it was the story of how he'd spent his life, a brief period of his life, as a homeless person after he decided to essentially say fuck it to most of his responsibilities as a manga author. And it's both very interesting just because of like the reality that it portrays, but also because after a certain point he essentially finds employment as a gas pipe fitter, and that's his life for a really long time. Yeah, very interesting story. It's super. It's very strange, right? Because the actual visual style of the comic itself is a very kind of cutesy, cartoonish style, but it's literally the story of this guy just being homeless for basically 2 years. Intermittently, by the way, he was homeless once after he escaped his responsibilities, and then they eventually found him in a missing persons report. Like a cop essentially took him to the station because he was acting suspicious at one point, which he's just trying to live his life, whatever. And they find him in the missing persons reports, and then after that, once again, he just kind of leaves, decides to leave again, and that's around the time that he becomes a gas pipe fitter. I think a while after that, it's just the cops who just eventually, I think they find him riding around on a bike that had its like license plate rubbed off or something, and they were like, "Hey man, that looks a lot like it's stolen." Which, to be fair, it probably was. Apparently, he like bought it off of like this very shady neighbor that he had. Yeah, good, interesting read. I enjoyed it myself. Let's see. Oh man, I really am just making a Dragon Ball cliff face, aren't I? Well, that's fine. I'm sure in 200, 400 years after this story takes place, so Goku will happily send somebody flying through this thing. Let's see. Did I do anything on the side of this? No, okay, I think I'm fine. Although I do need to like make this more of a cliff side edge on this part just to comply with what was on page 4. Most of this part over here is going to be just the tree line. So I think we'll be okay. Okay, then over here. Is there anything else that I need to do here? Actually, I think one thing that I might need to do is actually bring the grassy field part up, just so that there's enough space for the actual action to have taken place over in. Hang on. Over. Where would it be? It would be behind here, huh? I think. Oh well, I'm right or I'm wrong. Hang on. Something about this doesn't feel like it's adding up. Let me flatten this part here. Hey, Cannon, you're either right or you're either wrong. Yeah, that's true. One of my favorite phrases, kind of predating this kind of sentiment of "fuck it, we ball," is "I'll figure it out or I won't." And I've actually said that out loud so many times at my workplace that it's like that one of my coworkers, one of my juniors, was like, "Hey, what's that thing that you always say?" Like it's become my catchphrase whenever I don't know how something's gonna turn out. And I was like, one, have I really used that enough that it's like my catchphrase now? And two, oh my god, I have a catchphrase. Yeah, I've talked about this before. I love having like a personality that is like fully like an entire job persona. Right, like like at my workplace I basically like cram my power level down to zero, so to speak. I don't talk about anything like nerdy or anything like that. I just like have vague interests that I just don't really talk about. But it's fine. It's so much fun because that just means that they don't know anything about me. And so whatever I know, it's almost more genuine. Half job so no swearing is a surprise to me. I mean, I didn't say fuck it, we ball, right? Like I just say I'll figure it out or I won't. But and like that's my work sona equivalent of fuck it, we ball. I think this one's writing for coloring. All right, how are we doing this? Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the grass. We can start adding more extreme. What do you call? More extreme shading once we have a grass of like what everything's supposed to look like. Oops. Okay, well, let's just limit our appearances like this. Oh yeah, I was talking earlier about about some of these videos that I've been binging recently about like MMOs and such. I actually got to see one about Adventure Quest, which is a name that I hadn't heard about in ages. And it was super interesting having like both like an adult perspective of what was happening and also a more seasoned person, right? Like because this dude's entire YouTube career is kind of like based on his expertise with MMOs, right? So hearing a lot of the opinions that I had as a child kind of echoed by this guy was actually a very validating experience I didn't realize I needed. Like one of the thing is, right, Adventure Quest has been going on since like 2003 or some shit. And the issue with that is that naturally that means that a lot of content in there is both incongruous and just kind of all over the place. And this was a problem when I started playing it, right? Like the thing is that you don't actually need, like for example the main story quests, right? You don't actually need to finish the main story quests before whatever part you're playing to actually play the next part of the story, right? So you can literally jump in at any part of a storyline because it just lays it out for you as options. You just need to be able to complete the actual fights in there and you'll be fine. And as a child, I was like, "Oh my god, I must be really dumb. I must be doing something wrong because I can't follow this story at all." No, it's like that. It's just like that. And that's really funny. I'm not even saying that ironically. That it's just genuinely funny that that's just how they decided to build it, and it makes sense, right? Because this is like I don't know if y'all have ever played Adventure Quest, but it's very much supposed to be like a very lighthearted, not too serious, bite-sized kind of game. Yeah, it's just a badly told story. And to be fair, the story part isn't necessarily the hugest component of why you enjoy Adventure Quest, I think. Which is good because if it was, they would be in so much trouble. But yeah, no, it was just very validating. Okay, then over here. One thing that I am grateful for is that I got the MMO viruses out of my system. Okay, let me rephrase that. I got the my kind of interest in MMOs worked out before mostly before I got my access to Steam, because there's a bunch of MMOs on Steam and they all look. A lot of the ones that he accesses through Steam are just tremendously mid. Not bad, just kind of mid. Let's see over here. I need the color green from the crate back here. Yeah. It's also been interesting going through that video series because it shows a lot of like the exploitative pricing that a lot of these systems do, right? Like for example, one that very frequently comes up is that all of the like premium currency packs, right, are priced in such a way, are scaled in such a way that if, for example, let's say you wanted to just like buy a loot box, right? The loot box would be priced at $1,000 at 1,000 premium currency, but the lowest denominator of premium currency you can get is 800, and then the next one after that is like 2,000, right? There's no like way to like buy an exact amount of premium currency for just what you want. And so what ends up happening is that you usually just spring for the larger amount and thus shell out more money just because you don't want to pay for the smallest one twice. Like that's a very frequent example that comes up very, very often. I'm like, wow, I hadn't thought of that. But it makes sense from like a scumbag business standpoint. I don't know. It's good to learn how other people get scammed because then that makes you more aware of how you might yourself might get scammed. I remember reading about this one jerk running around. Oh yeah, no, premium currencies are definitely like one of the worst things to happen to civilization, I believe. Shaking fist gotcha games. Yeah, I'm just like that one frame from like Fairy Godparents where he's like Dinkelberg, and I'm like just like gotcha games. I have a very I have a very complicated relationship with gotcha games because like the problem is that they're like just a lot of them, like, how do I explain this? I recognize that they're definitely like the most predatory gambling based shit ever, but at the same time, because they rely so much on quantity over quality, you actually get some very interesting stuff coming out of them, right? Like let me take a very, very, very random example, right? Like Fate Grand Order, right? Fucking, well, no, that's not fair because Fate Grand Order is like, it has like actual writers and shit. But I'm saying that because of the fact that so many of these gotcha games have rely on like just mass, it's like a monkeys on typewriter shit, right? Like because so many of these are just doing random shit, what ends up happening is that eventually one of them has like a genuine brain genius moment. I don't know if I'm expressing myself correctly. Under no circumstances do we have to hand it to gotcha games. But I am going to say that, like, just because of the sheer output needed to do a lot of these, you actually end up with a lot of interesting, if poorly executed, concepts. This is the wrong layer. Speaking of poorly executed, hang on, how do I? I'm trying to think about it, like what color I should make this explosion, because I could make it like a red blast, but then I wonder how. Hang on, I'm gonna look up like a firecracker going off. No, those are fireworks. I meant firecrackers. Oh, here we go. Check this out. Okay, so there is. Okay, so the kind of grayish smoke is like a byproduct, but the sparks are different. I see. Okay, I think I got it. I think I understand now how to do this. We're gonna go for. Actually, we need. Wait, no, I can do this. Hang on. All right, we're gonna use the steam from this one to launch these things. Yo, check this shit out. It throws firecrackers at you. God. And that's how like some random dude discovered how to make a grenade. I fully believe that a lot of different quote unquote like weapon technologies were just a result of dudes fucking around. I remember that there were a couple like I remember when I read about the story of like how anesthetic was created. Some guy had like the idea of using ether as an anesthetic because he literally saw some dudes fucking around with it as a recreational drug at the time. I was like, hey, wait a minute. The ability to knock somebody out during like a surgery sounds like it might be a useful thing. Then it turns out that either gives you like brain damage or something, so we switched to a bunch of different other things. Yeah. I remember that there was also like a certain substance that you can give to people that makes them essentially get their stomach turned whenever they like drink alcohol. Those guys are getting high and falling asleep. What if we did that with medical patients? Yeah, I imagine at first he would have tried it. The guy who discovered that would have like tried it, right? Being like, "Huh, hang on, let's see what these boys are cooking." Like I don't know, like you have to try that first, right? Like how many times did the dude have to get high on ether before he was like, "Wait a minute, I can use this for the thing that I came here to research." Yeah, nobody said science was for pussies. Dr. Jekyll. God. I recently remember seeing a neat filming trick that they used for an old production of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where they, because it was filmed on black and white reel, right? What they ended up doing is that they painted the actor's face blue and had red and specific highlights. So let me put up a diagram to explain this. So they ended up okay. So let me have it like hang on. Oh, hello, Icarus Oakshot. Welcome to the stream. Hello, everyone. I'm Paps, a Rice VTuber and artist. Today we're working on the comic a little bit, and I'm talking about a cool film effect that I saw one time. How's your stream? Did you have fun? Yeah, thank you for your hard work. And shout out. Yeah, if you got a raid and run, no problem. Enjoy the rest of your evening. But for everybody who's sticking around, welcome. Yeah. So yeah, what they did is that they painted this dude's face and makeup with specific colors, right? So they did like blue and red, I think. And what they did is that because it was filmed, these were like very bright colors as well, right? So when they filmed it with a normal light, it just looked like, or rather with like a blue light with a red light. Okay, hang on, I'm forgetting how this works. But essentially, they color match the lighting to the makeup, and that way, the higher contrast would be brought out when they change the lights. So it would just look like the guy was morphing, even though his face remained the relatively same color. I want to learn more about that. I feel like that has some interesting color theory stuff behind it. Let's see here. Yeah, I remember there was a TikTok that also explored that technology floating around. It was like this one kid who put on like blue as a beard color, and then red as like makeup and such. I don't recall exactly how it worked, but I want to learn more about it. Maybe we should go for a proper red. Oh, that's a little bit of an obnoxious kind of red. That's a little better. Oh, thank you for the posture check. And for the hydrate. Let me take a quick sip. Oh, we bringing the rice piece in here? But there we go. All right. Then next up. Okay, we have this part here. This part here. Oh, another rice piece? You got it. There we go. Now I'm flanked. I'm castled like a like a chess piece. All right, hang on. This next part is going to be a little bit of cleanup work because you can see that I've got a lot of little two knights guarding the king. I do think I could trust the rice piece to cover VIP security at an event. I feel like some of them will get distracted pilfering food from whatever refreshments are available, but hey, that's the risk you pay, right? There's always that danger. Not to mention, the human guards are also able to do that, although they're just less likely to do it. Dude, imagine if you're like working security for like the president or something, and you let the guy get assassinated because you were off at the snack table like grabbing some cucumber sandwiches. Yeah. No, I can totally see like MIB Rice Beast being a thing. What's that one meme that's like story if story the normal way and then story if X had a gun? I feel like that would be Rice Beast in Men in Black. Like they would just straight up devour all the problems. Rice Beast would survive the Dungeon Meshi storyline. Bluetooth wire is an oxymoron. I mean, crack open any Bluetooth device and there's gonna be wires in there, right? Like to activate Bluetooth, you need wires. Yeah, wireless technology is super weird to me because I don't nowadays it's like it just feels like it's been introduced the wrong way with the wrong angle, right? Like it's supposed to be like a hands-free thing, right? But now it's just because like it's more expensive to replace. Every company's hopping on there and removing their audio jack and shit. Yeah, now I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you, but they definitely almost certainly have wires in your wireless headset somewhere. Hmm. I wonder if there really is a truly wireless headset. How far can you go without having wires in a piece of electronics? Right? Like I'm not countering stuff like soldering irons or anything, but I feel like you wouldn't be able to get very far. Like it'll all need to be like one very compact unit with limited functionalities. I guess you could probably make a very primitive radio, but I don't. I think even that one needs wires, doesn't it? Huh. God, do you think that that's gonna be like the next selling point for like the next Tesla or whatever the fuck? Like, you remember how they used to, the one of the Cybertruck things was like, oh yeah, no, check this out. It only uses like one thing of wire across the entire car, and everybody rightfully pointed out that that's like a really bad idea because if that one wire gets fucked, then you're out of luck. It's like I feel like that's very much like a thing that'd be like, okay, wait, no, hang on, we can. Fellas, I just discovered a brand new grift for the tech bros. Man, if that actually ends up being a thing, I'm gonna sue for credit. I don't care if I don't get any money out of it. I'll do it for the thrill of the sport. Actually, you know what? Never mind. They can keep that one. Even if I get money out of it, I wouldn't want to be associated with such a profoundly stupid idea. I mean, it was my idea first, but frankly, they can have it. Like ancient China didn't get on fucking whatever the dude's name is who invented the European printing press's case when he basically said like I invented the printing press and they're like no because like China invented the printing press like really 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 long time before the Europeans did, but like nobody. I imagine there must have been like some huffing and puffing, but like I don't think anything came of it. I'm willing to let that one go. Giving out freebies here. I mean, I am an internet streamer. 90% of my career is giving out freebies, hoping to entice new people. To what end? Well, I'm not so sure myself. I don't know. Maybe I should get like an agenda or something. I feel like I don't nearly abuse my status as an internet nano celebrity enough. I don't know. What's like a achievable goal for like sub 200 followers on Twitch? Pass on his hands and knees going pss, 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 at potential viewers. That is literally what I'm doing whenever I post like a new clip or a short. I'm being like, ooh, you want to join this channel so bad. You should follow this bag of rice now. And sometimes it even works. Which is a truly shocking thing. Yeah, it turns out when you actually output some of the things that you do, whether it's just like a brief moment or, you know, something you make on stream, it actually does make people want to see what more you can put out. It's insane to me that you and Sepulchritide are both so low in numbers, but I think I'm just biased. I mean, Cypress definitely deserves more viewers. I'm kind of cool as I am. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say no to more numbers, right? But like, I'm happy as I am. That's true. Accumulating followers online is fucking hard. It is fucking hard to do that. And past a certain point, it's not just accumulating them, but also retaining them, right? Hey, look over here! That guy's doing something cool! I'm just imagining like a bunch of people turning their heads. God. You know, retention is very difficult. Like, certain people follow. That's why I hope I never like blow up, right? Like, that's why I hope I never go viral, right? Because like I feel like once you do go viral, you have to fill that niche, and once you stop filling that niche, you're kind of out of luck. I yell this on the subways and start showing people your VODs. That is always a good idea, you know, for people who are like who aren't VTubers, or actually, rather explicitly for people who are VTubers. You can 100% be your own hype man. Like you can be like watching your own VOD at a party and people are like, "Whoa, what you looking at?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, it's this very cool internet streamer that I watch a lot of the time. You should check him out. You should tap in." That can backfire though. I feel like that can 100% backfire because then like either one, you're known as that one dude who bases his entire personality off of like this one internet micro celebrity, or two, they do tap in and they're like, "Wait a minute, this guy sounds familiar." That is like 100% my worst nightmares. At one time, I will like introduce a coworker to my streams, not telling them that I am the guy at the helm, and like they'll be like, "Oh man, this guy's funny." He does sound weirdly familiar though. Like that's literally the only reason I don't do that bit. Fun fact is I do actually you know how like V had a merch run, and I think her merch shop is still up, right? But like she had like a merch run a long time ago. I did end up getting myself like a mug with V's logo on it, and I bring that to the office with me. And I do actually get asked fairly frequently, "Hey, what's the logo on that mug?" And I explain to them, "Oh, I have a friend of mine who does like internet live streams." And you know that's kind of like the conversation ender, but like that realizing that worked was like harrowing. And again, I don't think I can take advantage of this technique myself because again, they're just gonna recognize me eventually. Dude, I need to start doing more sitcom shenanigan shit with my own VTuber persona. I swear to God, there's so much untapped potential in my own personal satisfaction in comedy. Or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I feel like, you know, people are like, "Oh, I wish my life was more like a comic. I wish my life was more like this or that." I feel like very few people say, "I wish my life was more like a sitcom," and for good reason. You know, I feel like I wish my life was more like a movie. I feel like that's just a very vacant kind of wish. But saying I wish my life was more like a sitcom is like what a sick person would say. Yeah. No, like I said, as funny as it would be, I don't need my employers and potential employers knowing I do all of this. I mean, yesterday I peeled the eyes out of a Funko Pop. On Monday, rather, I peeled the eyes out of a Funko Pop for my own amusement, and then took them as trophies and put them on myself. So I feel like that might communicate a little bit of like a few red flags professionally. I wish my life was like a movie gets a higher budget. Good one. You're making that out to be gorier than it was. I mean, it was a little grotesque. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that. You know how like when you're a kid and you're like eating gummy worms or something, and or like animal cracker, and like someone and there's this one kid who's like pretending that they're chopping off each a limb of the cracker with each bite. You know, I feel like it's a little bit like that. You feel like a little bit of sympathy for him. Hmm. Man, if they ever make a Funko Pop that bleeds, then we're gonna be in like some real deep shit. That's gonna be some genuine fucking Black Mirror nonsense. I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying that it would be a bad idea. Actually, it's more like I'm explicitly saying we shouldn't. My next creepypasta, the Pop that bleeds. The Funko Pop of Dorian Gray. God. I need to actually read the picture, read at least a summary of the picture of Dorian Gray, because I feel like that's a lot of untapped potential. I feel like I've milked my cask of Amontillado jokes pretty much dry at this point. So I need some new material from classic literature, classic Gothic literature. Genuinely, some of the tightest shit ever is when you can just like make jokes and then relate them back to a classic literary source. Unmatched humor. I genuinely feel that. All I know is that he has a picture that ages while he doesn't. See, I knew that like a picture that ages was like was like a comparatively like relevant part of that story, but I didn't know like it was like the sort of him not aging. Like I genuinely know nothing about that story, and my ass has got to get reading. Edgar Allan Poe, something man. I don't. It's kind of about hubris. Ah, so it would actually be a very relatable tale of like fun. I don't know. I feel like Funko Pops are more like a narcissism thing. I feel like rather than hubris, Funko Pops are like are like a narcissist force. If that makes sense. I don't know. What would be hubris? Probably something like a perfect great Gundam or something, right? Like I feel like getting a model kit that is outside of your building competence is definitely a form of hubris. What's an oil painting if not the earliest Funko Pop? I mean, that is true. Oil is kind of a precursor to plastic, vinyl. Okay, add these, and here we go. Man, has anybody tried to do like oil paintings of like VTubers? Asking for a friend. I just think it would be really funny if I got myself like one of those like classical like royal style portraits done of just of Pabs. I don't know. Maybe I could learn to do that myself. I do have access to like one of those like more realistic painting programs, so I could give that a shot. I know for a fact that people have done oil paintings of Toho characters, so it shouldn't be impossible to do them for VTubers. We all need to get rich so we can commission artists to draw ridiculous things. True, true, true. So true. Zero notes. You are 100% right. Okay, then over here. Whew. That reminds me, I still haven't tapped into Corel Painter. I need to ask Emerald for some help with that. Oops. Didn't mean to do all that. I found that there's something weirdly relaxing about drawing like smoke clouds. I don't know. It's just kind of soothing. Hmm. Okay. I think if I just keep doing it like this, I should eventually be able to create some kind of coherent effect. There we go. Okay. Oh, we do have an ad coming up very soon, so make sure to duck your heads and cover your ears for about 30 seconds. Oh shit, incoming! I never know how long exactly I have until the ad hits whenever I hit the button, because I have a certain degree of control over it, right? Like, to give you all a peek behind the curtain, ignore the capitalism. And to give you all a peek behind the curtain, like, I have a ad control widget, an ads manager doc on my stream where I can see the time until I have to run an ad, and I have the option to snooze it, which gives me like 5 more minutes before I need to run it again, and I can hit the button to run it to begin with. That reminds me of this one video that a guy did where he literally just tried to run as many ads as humanly possible during a YouTube video, and ended up finding out that he only got like $5 from it. Every single day of my life, I'm grateful to have a day job that means that I don't have to do live streaming as a full-time career. That just sounds so stressful. Like I hear sometimes about like the shit that the folks at Hololive, the folks at Niji Sanji, well, the folks at Niji Sanji are like fucking being mistreated, right? But I hear about like the background hecticness of like doing live streaming as a professional gig, and it's just so much compared to just like me loading up whenever and being like, "Hey, fellas, I'm gonna draw fucking I don't know the Ouroboros as an anime girl. Buckle in." Oh man, stream when? I haven't made the stream schedule for next week just yet. I might actually be able to fit in a character design session for that. Although I do wonder how I can do it without how I can make a anime girl Ouroboros without making it fairly grotesque. Something about biting its own tail. I don't know. Maybe that's just like a snake girl. It's no good when you've made this very chill and casual and fun for you. Yeah. No, it's good that you've made this very chill and casual and fun. Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I'm definitely, like I said, I'm happy kind of where I'm at, more or less, right? Like, obviously, big numbers bring go awooga, but I don't know. I'm happy with the community that has kind of congregated here. I want to say that I've built a community, but I've mainly just been like chilling here, and y'all kind of built yourselves up, which I'm very proud of y'all for. Thank you very much for doing that. I always appreciate it when people drop in and and say hi, talk a little bit, chat a little with me. It's nice, and I'm really happy to have that. Guy who has been accumulating stragglers. I'm like the mola mola of engagement bait. I just kind of randomly hope that the shit falls into my mouth and I gain some nutritious substance from it. And somehow I've managed to survive for millions of years. I don't know. Are mola mola like ancient fish? That's true. It does work. And again, I am very grateful that people decided to hang out here. Like at one point, not now, obviously, but like before, I felt like I owed people money. If I was like their Oshi shit. Like if I was your Oshi at any point during like 2021, I feel like I owe, you should be entitled to financial compensation. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. One of the other comics that I've been reading about recently. Speaking about silly things, one of the other comics that I've recently binge read was this one called Miggy and Dolly, which is made if you know the author of Don't You Know I'm Sakamoto, it's the same author, and it's super weird, right? Because Miggy and Dolly is very much like a suspense horror story, but it also manages to be completely ridiculous in a lot of different places, and it does have like genuine comedic moments. I don't know how to describe it. Like, you know how like JoJo is sometimes unintentionally funny with its dialogue? Like people were like, "Oh man, how did you get?" People asked Rocky like, "How did you get such a distinctive speaking style down in your comics?" And he's like, "What do you mean? That's just how I talk in my day to day life." It's very much the same vibe. Like it is a lot of ridiculous things happening, but it is all taken 100% seriously. So it's never out of place. But yeah, very compelling mystery story. Okay, then over here. Hmm. Going to redo this part here. Okay. I don't know. I was it called like something like bathos or something? Like there's a word for whenever, even though it's supposed to be a funny word, or even though it's presented as like something to be laughed at, there's something like very moving about it. That's something that the author of that manga does very, very well. Is that it occasionally does like these really absurd things that are nevertheless incredibly touching in context. It's really fascinating. I want to learn how they do that. Let's see. Okay, then use this eraser over here. Did I fill this in properly on the bottom layer? No. Okay, that's good to know. That would have been a big issue once I put up the background. Let me try this then. Okay, that's gonna come in like this. Hmm. Okay, then over here, we'll just do a little bit of a dip like this. All right, that's looking nice and strong. Although I do want to add a few more of these like shockwave effects on this other side, just so it's a little bit more uniform with the other half of the sphere. It's not gonna work exactly the same because it's what do you call it? It's gray on white instead of white on gray, but I'm sure it'll work out some way. Okay, and then all right. Let's save our work real quick, and then we can get started on the next part of the explosion, which would be like the inner sphere here. Thankfully, I have something of a little palette right here to help me out. Okay. Okay, good. We just need to cover out some of the white parts here. Add some orange there. Can I just erase this part? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. Okay, add this kind of like brighter yellow in here. Perfect. Then I think we're ready to start shading as soon as I add. I don't know, maybe I should add just like a bright red background, but I feel like I've done that already for some of these, so I don't know. Should I just add another skybox? I feel like that's inappropriate though. Ah, screwed. I'll bet on red. Hmm. That's a bit pinkish. I reckon it's fine if we bump up the saturation and luminosity a little bit. I did actually want to do some more additional effects on this panel here, but I think for the time being we can move on to shading. We still have another half hour before I'm ready to call it quits, so let's get started on some work. Okay. Move it like this, move it like that. That like that. Yeah, I know how to do this. I'd probably also bump out the shadows a little bit to make it a bit more dramatic. Muddle a little bit where the light source is coming from. Well, this does make me want to have a secondary shadow color. Okay, we can just make this whole arm in the back dark shaded, and I think that'll help it stand out a little more. All right, we'll do a slight layer of darker shadow for some parts of the costume here. Okay, next up, let's do the skin. Got this patch here. My bad. We can cover that up real quick. Okay, then over here. Yeah, this will work. Okay, so it goes index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. I jumped ahead to pinky too fast, and that's why I said ring fingy. Do I have shading on this glove here? Come on. Yeah, we do. There we go. And I should figure out another shadow color for the gloves, too. At least for the one in the back. Just take one step further, maybe. Same goes for the skin and such. Yeah, this works really well, actually. Okay, we'll do that like that then. After that, we need the shading color of the pants. We need to finish up the other leather strips in the piece as well. Over here. Over here. Okay, then after that, we need to do the rest of the leather works. Then we can move on to the big guy. Okay. All right. That's one part of the straps done. We need. Oh, hang on. I just realized there's something wrong with the lines up here. Shouldn't be able to. At least with the perspective here, we shouldn't be able to see this other strap coming in just yet. We'll have to swap that around a little. I think we can keep it lit up. Let's get off my back. Okay, then we need the parts here. That is to say, the shading for the actual jetpack. Okay. All right. The jetpack's color, and actually the helmet's color while I'm at it too. They're the same thing. I'm gonna use a normal size eraser rather than the vector eraser. That'll speed things up a little. Okay. Then next after that, let's turn this part here. Oop. Hang on. All right, here we go. You can just shrink the selection here. That's 100 pixels. I don't know why I shrank it that much. Let's do 10. Let's do 5. Perfect. That'll do. And we can just fill it in by hand over here. All right, now we do the helmet. But before that, before I forget, this part here. God, that poor leather being stretched to its absolute limits. Okay. What else should we do before we tackle the helmet? Because the helmet is the one thing that I'm definitely not gonna forget. I should at least do the collar as well. I'm not gonna shade that part of the collar because I think having the bright colors there helps to contrast the knife a little better. Well, I guess it's called something else technically. It's supposed to be like a dirk or something, like a very small kind of sword rather than a knife, or rather, it's a specialized knife rather than a kind of sword. I mean, I just based it off of Fairbairn Sykes, so I don't really have much room to talk. Let's see. Okay, so crumple the area down by, let's say, 3 pixels. Okay. That's not working out too good. Okay, move it like this. Okay, then over here. All right. Is there anything else that I need to worry about? I think we just need to do this part of the goggles, and we'll be able to call it a day. Got the back of the helmet. Hmm. Okay, and then up like this. Guess I should probably connect this one to the very bottom then, huh? Like that. The colors in the scene make it really dynamic. Thank you so much. I'm really happy it's making it look nice and dynamic. Man, the time lapse for this one is gonna look crazy. Is that everything for Hawk? I think it might be. I think maybe just a couple of little details here and there, but besides that, we should be good. All right, let's go. Let's start shading up the big guy. I see I missed a couple of spots, but I'm not gonna worry about those just yet. Okay, over here. Okay, we'll add a couple more shadows here, here, and here. Yeah, that should do it. The one thing that irks me about shading metal here is that if you put the lines too consistent, it'll just look like it's a pattern. But if you don't put them consistently enough, it won't look enough like what metal looks like. So it's a very interesting little balancing act. Okay, move this up here. That's one thing that I will be forever grateful to making this comic for, is that now I have zero fear about shading metal. Like obviously on the pages it's not 110%, but I feel like I could give it 110%. And that's and that's like so important. I'm fine with not doing something regularly, but knowing that I can do it is very comforting. No fear, no pain, all chrome. This summer. That would actually be a very good movie tagline. I feel like that'll be that's like a that'll be like the Terminator killer, right? That's like a Terminator Judgment Day kind of tagline. Man, it has been a long time since I've watched the Terminator films. I remember I watched the first one on a whim and I was like, okay, that was okay. And then and then eventually I got around to watching the second one, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's why they let that director do whatever the fuck he wants now. That's a tagline for a Fast and Furious movie about a guy who's got nothing to lose or something. Yeah. Completely unrelated to Fast and Furious. I wonder how the new Mad Max movie that's in the works is going to pan out. Like, I do hope that we get to see even more of the really fantastic set design that they showed us in Fury Road. Like, I'm not interested in in the fact that it's a prequel or anything. I want to see the cool cars and set and like world building and design. Yeah, Furiosa, that one. Praying to God that it's good, because otherwise, I'm praying to God that it's good for two reasons. One, I do have a soft spot for Mad Max as a franchise, and I love seeing it get big wins like in Fury Road. But also, if it's not good, then a bunch of chodes on YouTube are going to be like, "Oh, this is the glass ceiling." Blah blah blah. What? You know what I mean? It's gonna be like a bunch of reactionary motherfuckers being like, "Oh, it's bad because it's a prequel focused in Furiosa." No, that's not why it's bad. It's bad because there was a fucking there's a lot of shit that's been going on in in the movie industry, man. I don't know. It's not good to be pessimistic when it hasn't even come out yet, but that is like my main concern. It's just like the jabroni reaction. I can't say I'll be seated either because I'm just never seated for anything. I am the guy who is never seated for anything. I do not watch shit as it comes out. I'd watch it eventually, and you had best hope that I get around to it at some point. Like I was talking about some of the manga that I was reading recently. I've had those on my list since like early 2023. Guy who is never in the seats. I will never be seated. Yeah. Like I have my backlog is not that big, but it is slow to get through. Right? Like I can very easily see myself getting through my backlog if I watched it if I watched more than like one movie a year. Literally the only movie I saw in theaters last year was Spider-Verse, and that was because a friend of mine invited me to watch it in theaters. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but it is something that does make me a little sad. I feel like I'm the guy who's never like on time for a lot of like the hype momentums. Like it's very rarely that I am. The one time that I was on time for like a trend was that time that I made a meme about like the Grimace Shake, which pulled surprisingly good numbers in YouTube Shorts. But yeah, besides that, not much. But I'm happy with that. I'd rather not tap into enough trends and do my own thing than tap into way too many trends and just not have the bandwidth for my original projects. Like, I have been in the fucking trenches with this comic for the better part of a year now. And when it's finished, I want to be able to do some cool shit. But very likely I'll just start picking up another big project and just push my time toward that. I think that's a good way to live my life, though. I feel like even though I don't necessarily go the fastest, I still get to complete it, and that's what's the most important part to me, is fulfilling like my own obligations toward the work. Okay, I think that's enough shading for the folds on this guy's clothes. Or at least that top half. Okay, over here. Maybe that's something that I should start doing more in the year, though. Trying to participate in a few more trends. It does look fun. It's not always that I just don't have time for it. It does look fun for a few of them. Like, I'll tap in whenever I feel like it, I guess. That's not much of a resolution, but I guess it's a starting point, if nothing else. Okay, then over here, let's use the lasso tool and the gradient eraser. We do the same for this part over here. Hang on. Object, marquee, lasso. Here we go. No, that's not quite right. Oh, I know what's wrong. This should help. Okay, then next up after that, I should figure out the shading for this guy's pants. Ah, how convenient. Okay, then over here. All right, with that, I think we just need to do a little bit of shading for the arm here. Okay, then over here, perfect. Okay. All right, are we cool with this panel? I think we're ready to go more or less. I just need to shade in the wrist on this one. And maybe do something with the glove. All right, easy peasy. This middle panel is already shaded, so I don't need to worry about that. Oh, my very crunchy wrists. Oh, goodness. Oh, yeah, that loosened something. All right. Oh, yeah, these are all the visual effects. Hang on. I don't know. Did we ever figure out whether, like, crunching your wrists and stuff is, like, good? Like, I'm guessing that like when you crack your back, right? Like when you stretch and crack your back, is it good that it's cracking? Like, is that a sign that it's working, or is that a sign that you're like dying? I don't think it's a sign that you're dying for sure, but like that's definitely an exaggeration on my part. My bad, but like you know what I mean? It's like it's supposed to be cracking. All I know is that cracking your knuckles doesn't give you arthritis. Oh, thank God! I love cracking my knuckles. I don't know. I remember that practicing martial arts actually, doing it responsibly. I mean, not like doing 36 chambers of Shaolin stuff. Practicing martial arts can actually help you prevent arthritis because of the microfractures that it creates in your bones, making them stronger. It is really fun and easy to do, and that's like a big problem because apparently it's not polite to do it. All right, I think that should be good for shading on the dagger. I don't want it to have too much contrast in order for it to stand out a little more, if that makes sense. Free and easy way to get crunchy. That should be the tagline for cracking your knuckles. Oh yeah, this one's gonna be much faster because I already know what I'm doing. I should probably move this leg part up a little bit though. Okay. Let's use the G pen again. Now I should probably hang on. Let me go back here and remove this little triangle here. Okay, we should be good now. Okay, the shirt needs to be shaded over here. Oh, I think I might have missed a spot here with the grass. Hang on. Perfect. Okay, we'll use normal eraser right here just so we have a little bit more emphasis for the strap there. Okay, and then okay, we'll grab the darker color from over here, apply it here. Okay. This line's intersecting here in a way that I don't really like, so let's fix that up real quick. Okay. I'm probably not going to be finishing this page today, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm definitely not finishing this page. But I can finish this panel, so that's good enough. Okay. Okay. I try to make these lines a little bit more uniform. Okay, then this one here, this one here. What else we got here? The belt. Or this middle loop, rather. How's that? I see. I just snake this part up this way. There we go. Oh yeah. Something that I found out recently about a dollar store near me is that they have a lot of like they sell like those candy bars and stuff in those like Halloween sized fun size packs. And I've discovered very recently that they're like the perfect size for me because you know, I don't like to think that I'm so I like to indulge. I do enjoy the occasional indulgence, but not to the extent that I need like a full size bar every now and again. But like having these tiny ones just available for me to kind of sup upon, very nice. I will say it's like the perfect portion for me. And you've kind of become an adult when the portion sizes of like of candy bars no longer bug you. That's like small potatoes to me now, and I recognize that that's a very good progress from where I was. Like I used to demand larger, like it was like a matter of principle that candy bars should be as big as they possibly can, as often as they can. So it's interesting to see that I've relaxed my views on that somewhat. I was right, is the thing. I am definitely right that candy bars should be as big as possible whenever possible, but I've learned to appreciate the smaller things. Although I don't think you could call that maturity. Well, one step at a time. It's also really funny to me, not only because again of just like that fun little like oh look how I've changed sort of thing, but also because I very much recognize a lot of those packets because every Thursday at my office we have like this small get together, this little office wide get together where we chill out for like half an hour before the end of the day. And it's a fun opportunity, and they have snacks and like a few soft drinks and everything to like to chew on while we talk. But I also very much recognize the fact that like half of the candies that are and like snacks that are offered in that place are definitely from these like dollar store packs of things, which is really funny to me. I'm like, wait a minute, I could just have the exact same experience at home for like $2.99. What the fuck? Okay, let me. This is why I didn't want to get too fancy with the helmet effects, because then it creates problems all over the place with stuff like this. I can probably get around it by using the lasso tool. Okay, then over here. And over here too. Hang on. You can very easily change the scope of these action points. Hang on. Oh, okay. All right. So now we grab this part here. Oh, that was a bad idea to select everything on this layer. All right. Let's try that again. Maybe refer to editing layer only. Good enough. Okay, let's see. So it starts here. Then over here. I don't know. Hang on. It looks a little strange when I put it around the eye lenses like this. Let me repair that. Okay, then over here. I see. Okay, where's the gradient erase? Here we go. Okay. How much time are we on? I bet I can finish it before time's up. Let me apply some neat tricks. Aka's almost done. I just need to do a little bit more shading for the arm in the foreground here. Okay, then the other part of the shadow for the arm would be over here. Need a little bit of shading for this guy's wrists, too. The leather straps need shading as well. Okay. Working fast. Okay, then over here. Oh, I think I missed a spot up here with the coloring. Hang on. Oh, I totally did. Hang on. That should be a little better. Okay, now we just need to do the other shading for the helmet, and I think with that we would be good to go. Oh, we would... Let me do the shading for the knife first, because I feel like I'm going to forget that. Go back and repair it for this one, too. Okay, then over here... Hmm. Okay. Then just a little bit of here and there for the knife. And for the grip, I remember we have the shadows for that here. I also want to do something for the inside of the glove, the palm of the glove, rather. Okay. The jetpack and the helmet would be next, but that's fine. We can knock both of those more or less at the same time. Okay, put that there. I'll just shade it with speed lines here. That's fine. Okay. We've also got some problems here with the filling of the color. That's fine. If you're wondering why it sounds like I'm on a hurry, you remember how you mentioned how like I have a timer that tells me when an ad is going to play next? Well, right now it says that we are like 3 minutes out before I have to run an ad. So I want to see if I can finish the shading on this panel before I hit the 3-minute mark. I don't know, it's a weirdly good motivator. It's like a Pomodoro, except the consequence of it is like subjecting people I like to into advertisements, which is like, huh. I don't know anything good to liken that to. It's like a saw trap. No, wait, that wouldn't work because if it was like a saw trap, I would be the one getting hit with an advertisement. Or maybe this is a. But yeah, so if I can't make the timer, I will just hit the snooze, so that's fine. I'll just get 5 more minutes, and I'll definitely be able to finish in like 7 minutes. Okay, and then there we go. All right, have I missed anything? I think maybe just like the launch pad thing there. I can do that real quick. Ooh, I see I missed some parts on the ground there too. Hang on. All right, that's fine. Let me go to the background layer. All right, I'm gonna have to hit the snooze. Damn it. Looks like I couldn't beat out the clock, but that's fine. I am actually very happy with the fact that they included the option to have that snooze feature. I feel like that's like weirdly considerate of them. Yeah, there we go. Okay, those are those first 3 panels, nice and shaded. Let's see if we have anybody to raid right now. I don't know who all is working. Who's out here working their butt off on a Wednesday night? Doesn't look like anybody's really doing much. All right, if that's the case, we'll just end it here for now. All right, thank you all very much for coming by. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to Acreus for the raid. I will be back on Saturday streaming a cool little indie game called Fatum Betula. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there, and I will see you all later. Bye.